everyone, today I have the new Google Pixel 6 Pro in my hands, and I have for you a complete camera review from this phone with both photo and video and heaps of examples to share with you. We're going to be doing a portrait photo shoot on location with a professional model, then we'll be heading out to test out the night sight and also some astrophotography as well, so let's get started. I think we'll start here with like the banana leaves that look cool. So I'm going to start off by taking some portraits on the standard camera. I'm not going to tap the screen, I'm going to let the phone do all the work for me. The 6 Pro wide camera, which is the phone's default camera, has a 50 megapixel quad Bayer sensor with an 82-degree field of view and an aperture of f1.85. I'm taking photos in a few different lighting scenarios today to see how it performs under both easy and more challenging lighting for photos. So far, I'm loving what the standard camera looks like. We were in an extremely green location, and it's super nice to see that Heidi's skin tone still looks very natural and true to life. Usually when you shoot in a location such as a park like this, you can get some really unflattering color casts on the skin and outfits, but I don't see that happening here. So I like that we still have the same sliders as always, where you can adjust the exposure and you can also bring the shadows up and down as well. What I really like is the addition of a white balance slider as well, so you can bring up the warmth or you can make it cooler, just depending on the scene, because sometimes when you're shooting outdoors, you get lots of different color casts in your photos. So here in the shade, for example, it looks quite cool, so I'll just warm it up slightly. There's a nice amount of sharpness and detail that you can see in the photos, even when you zoom into 100% crop. I really love that when it processes the standard camera, the pictures don't look over-sharpened. They look detailed, but not overdone. And then I also want to go up there, those little steps look cool to sit on. Yeah, I love that casual posing. In this next location, we had trickier light to work with as there was some strong backlight, but it was still really easy for me to get photos with nice contrast and great colors with the camera. You can also see the standard camera has a slight lens flare when shooting directly into the sun. If you move around a little bit, this can be easily avoided, as you can see in some of my photos. I also took some photos where I purposely filled the frame with lots of lens flares to see what it looks like, and I think this can be a nice effect for some images. I'm also taking photos with the 6 Pro in both RAW and JPEG simultaneously. I love that it saves both the images at the same time to your photos. Sometimes I like the ease of posting a straight out of the camera photo, and other times I like having the RAW image so I can edit it myself. Here's an example of what an unedited RAW versus JPEG straight out of the Pixel 6 Pro looks like, and then what you can do to the RAW image with editing to bring back more detail and to just get a different look compared to the JPEG file. The Magic Eraser is really easy to use, and I think it works pretty well as well. Even in this slightly busier background with a lot of texture and leaves, it did a really good job getting rid of this plastic. I think I need to get some with the 4x telephoto lens here as well, because the location is so nice. We also have a telephoto lens on the 6 Pro, which the Pixel 6 doesn't include. The telephoto camera is 48 megapixels with an aperture of f3.5 and a 23.5 degree field of view. I found that the 4x optical zoom looks a lot better when you shoot in brighter light. Here's a shot taken in the shade, which looks pretty good, but when we moved into the bright sunlight is where this telephoto lens really shined. I'm super excited that we have the telephoto lens back in the 6 Pro. Some of the portraits I got are so gorgeous with so much detail. I did want to mention that I was having an issue on the day of our shoot because I was using the phone so heavily. I was shooting in RAW plus JPEG, screen recording the phone, and we were shooting for about an hour. So sometimes the telephoto lens was lagging to click over from the standard lens when I switched it. Instead of shooting with the optical 4x zoom, I was shooting on the standard lens and 4x digital zoom, which wasn't giving me the same high quality results as optical. I do wish there was a little notification or something on the screen to let me know that the telephoto lens isn't ready yet, as I couldn't tell on the day until we were looking back at the photos afterwards. Okay, so here we've got portrait mode in 1x zoom. Oh, that's so pretty. The lighting is so warm. These are some samples of the portrait mode photos we took. I really love the way bokeh looks in the background. It's super pretty. Portrait mode does a pretty good job at outlining our subject, but you can still see a bit of an outline here and there around Heidi. So I'm going to try out the wide angle camera here because we've got a cool spot. So that's 7 times and that's 6 times wide angle on the Pixel 5. And I'll just take a quick comparison here in this location. I feel like I need to warm up the image a little with the white balance slider. Finally, I'm happy to see we have a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera in the Pixel 6 Pro. I love having a phone that can do all 3: standard camera, telephoto, and wide. The ultra wide camera has an aperture of f2.2 and 114 degree field of view. It also makes use of lens correction when processing the photo. Between the Pixel 5 and 6 Pro, you can see the 6 Pro has a big improvement in terms of color rendition, and that's before I increased the white balance. I noticed the ultra-wide lens had the bluest color cast on Heidi's outfit, which is why I wanted to warm it up. In the RAWs though, her outfit is white. Currently filming in 4K 60p, and we do have optic image stabilization, so I'm going to walk around so we can see what that looks like. With the rear camera, we can record both 4K and 1080p in 30 and 60 FPS, which is awesome to see, and we have optical image stabilization. I think there has been a huge improvement with video in the Pixel 6 Pro. These video shots look sharp and vibrant, and I like that the quality of the video is now starting to match the photo quality of the camera more and more. With video, you have the option to shoot in 2 video formats: HEVC, which is H.265 and is used to save space, and AVC, which is H.264. I decided to film in H.264 due to better compatibility when it comes to editing on my computer. I also tested out video with the wide camera, and while we lose a little bit of sharpness compared to the standard camera, I still like what this video footage looks like. Here's an example of 120 FPS slow-mo, which in the camera is labeled as 1/4 times speed, and also 240 FPS, which in the camera is labeled as 1/8 times speed. Both of these super slow-mo videos are only in 1080p, but speaking of slow-mo, it is nice to see that we have cinematic pan now available in 4K. I want to try out the front camera, so I'm going to take some selfies to test it out. The front camera has 11.1 megapixels and an aperture of f2.2. So I'm going to take one just here in 1x zoom, and then we can go to 0.7, which gives us a 94 degree ultra wide field of view. We can also do portrait mode with the selfie lens as well, which is cool. So I'll take another shot with my arm extended. I have always loved what the bokeh looks like when you use portrait mode on the Pixels. It's so pretty. And even on the wide angle too, that looks nice. With the selfie camera in video, we can now film 4K 30 FPS. So I'm filming a little clip here on my phone. I'm gonna be walking around a little so we can see the stabilization, and I will pan the camera around. Does a really good job at balancing all the tones in the image. The sky is super bright today, but we can see a lot of detail in the leaves, and my face is still lit up really nicely in the shot as well. I'll head out a little bit more into the sun so we can see what that looks like too. We also have a little shortcut on screen where you can film at 1.4 times zoom or go back to 1 times zoom. And we also have the zooming function there. We don't need to see my face that close up. And if you want to use the selfie cam at 60 FPS, you can do that, but it's only in 1080p, and this is what it looks like. Again, I'll just do a little walk around. We'll get Dan in the background who's filming today's video. I've switched it back to 4K 30 FPS because I also want to test out the speech enhancement function that we have in the camera as well. So this audio that you're hearing right now is from my professional microphone that's on my camera that's filming this video. Now I'm going to switch it to the Pixel 6 Pro so we can hear what this microphone sounds like, and I'll talk a little bit. There's a little bit of noise going on. There's like a bush turkey, that bird there that's digging in the leaves. There's some birds chirping, there's some boats in the distance, and I can hear a little bit of cars. And now in this clip, I've got speech enhancement on. So we'll see if that makes a difference in what you can hear while I'm talking. The bird is still, wherever it went, it's still digging away. Somewhere I can hear it. And there's still birds, and there's like an airplane or a helicopter flying right above me, so we'll see if we can hear that while I'm talking. I have the Pixel 6 Pro set up on my tripod, and I want to take a photo with each of the focal lengths we have available in the rear camera, starting off at the widest end and going all the way up to 20 times zoom. I like that there's no crazy over sharpening in these zoomed in photos. I think all the focal lengths look great in these example images, right down to 20 times digital zoom. By the way, I will have some of these photos available in the sample gallery that you can download and have a look for yourself on your own phone or on your own computer, so you can zoom in and see all the details of the photos. They'll be on my blog. I'll leave a link in the description where you can find them. While we wait for it to get darker so we can try out night sight, I want to set up a 4K time lapse of this landscape of the clouds going past and the sun setting. So I have it set up right here. I think I'm going to do 30 times because I'm going to set the time lapse up for 20 minutes or so. And I also want it to be in landscape so we can fill up the entire screen for you guys to watch the time lapse. So we have a really beautiful view of Sydney right now to test out night sight. I have the Pixel 6 Pro on a tripod, and I thought I'd also bring the Pixel 5 as a comparison. So we have them pointing in the exact same direction. Just looking at the standard camera, the Pixel 6 Pro is slightly wider than the 5. So we're going to start off by taking a photo at 1 times, and then I'll just work my way through all the lenses. According to Google, the camera on the Pixel 6 and 6 Pro captures 150% more light than the Pixel 5. Looking at the comparison photos side by side, you can definitely see that difference. The Pixel 6 Pro night sight photos are much brighter and more detailed. You can especially see a difference when it comes to the more zoomed in photos, as the 6 Pro has a telephoto lens but the 5 doesn't. One of my favorite features of Pixel cameras is the night sight and camera capabilities in low light, and the 6 Pro is no exception. I love what these photos look like. We managed to capture a few different cityscapes before the large storm cloud above us rained and we had to run home. The sharpness is beautiful and the colors look really stunning. Even with the wide-angle camera, I was able to capture some great night sight photos, and I didn't notice on the night, but you can see a couple of stars in the sky as well. Speaking of stars, I of course had to try astrophotography. Unfortunately, I didn't have a clear view of the Milky Way, but as always, Pixel impresses me so much with the astrophotography capabilities. The stars look so crisp and clear. There is also a new astrophotography time-lapse feature, which looks like it creates cute little GIFs of the stars moving in the sky. So that is all I have for my camera review of the Google Pixel 6 Pro. I'd love to know what you think of my photos, the review, the camera. Let me know down in the comments because I love hearing from you all. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I make new videos every single week, so I will see you all next time. Bye!